Sometimes people come in therapy and they say something like this: Karyn, I keep doing the same thing and I don't know why. Or, I keep reacting in ways that I don't want to react. Or, man, I keep going back to these relationships and I know they ain't good for me. Or, I keep shutting down when things get hard and I don't like it. So the first question I ask them is a simple one. I ask them, is this what you really want to do? And 9 times out of 10, they look at me so confused and they say, no, not at all. And that is when we realize something important. We realize we are not dealing with desire and we are not dealing with willpower. We are dealing with learned survival patterns. Hi, I'm Karyn L, licensed professional counselor. And in this space, we explore the integration of theology, psychology, and neuroscience to help us understand how we show up and why we show up that way. Also, what we can do to move towards healing. So right now we are in a series. It is called Trauma, Identity, and the Brain. And here we're exploring how our experiences shape the way that we think, shapes the way that we react, and shapes the way that we relate to others. And so today, we are looking at a question that many people ask when they come to therapy because they're confused by it. They say, why do I keep doing things I don't actually want to do? And you're in luck because there are 3 things that can help explain this. And we're going to talk about them today. The first one is learned patterns. The second one is neural pathways. And the third is survival repetition. First, we have learned patterns. Many of the behaviors today, or that we repeat today, actually started out as survival strategies. They were things we learned to do at some point in our lives to cope with stress, conflict, or emotional pain. For example, people pleasing, okay? This may stop conflict. Anger may create distance. Avoidance may reduce stress. And the brain says, that worked. Once again, the brain finds something that works, even if it's unhealthy. It stores the response as strategy because it's looking for the path of least resistance for protection. And the more we repeat a response, the stronger the pathway becomes in the brain. This is where neural pathways come in. The brain loves efficiency. Every time you repeat a behavior, that pathway gets stronger. It's like going to the gym. The more you work a muscle, the stronger it becomes. And eventually, that response becomes automatic. It's second nature. You don't even have to think about it. Your brain has learned the program. It's like check, check, check. It worked. I like it. Let's do it. And so this leads to the third piece, the survival repetition. When the nervous system learns a survival pattern, it will run that pattern automatically, often faster than your thinking brain can even process what's happening. And that's why people say things like, I know I shouldn't react like that. Or, I know their relationship is not good for me. Or, I know I don't want to shut down like that anymore. But the emotional brain reacts before the thinking brain has time to step in. So what you're seeing isn't a character flaw. You're seeing a conditioned response. So I want you to remember this. You are not crazy. You are conditioned. Your brain learned a pattern, but the same brain that learned that pattern can also learn a new one. Hallelujah. Yes. Okay, we're talking about neuroplasticity. When we become aware of our patterns, we create space for something different. And so this awareness interrupts the automatic response. And that awareness gives us the opportunity to make a new choice. Every time we make a new choice, the brain begins building new neural pathways. And that ability of the brain to change and adapt is called neuroplasticity. And that's what I call a power seat moment. It's the moment when you move from reacting automatically to going back into the seat of choice and responsibility. So instead of the pattern running you from the emotion center of the brain, you begin to choose how you respond. You get to think logical, rational, reasoning. And what's interesting is that the Bible actually speaks to this concept long before neuroscience ever studied it. Paul said, why do I do the thing I don't want to do? And then the word talks about renewing your mind. And so when you're renewing the mind, this is the process of learning new ways to think, respond, and live. In many ways, that's exactly what we're doing when we begin building new neural pathways. So if you've ever looked at yourself and wondered, why do I keep doing things I don't want to do? Remember this. You are not crazy. You are conditioned. And what was learned can be unlearned. And then you can also relearn. So if you've been following this series, I want you to take a few minutes and download the worksheet attached to this lesson. Spend some time reflecting on what you've heard today, on what you've noticed within yourself while listening, checking out the patterns that have developed over time. Because healing isn't about perfection. Healing is about awareness, growth, and learning new ways to respond. So next week, we are going to look at how these patterns begin forming in the first place and how early experiences start shaping the way we show up in relationships. Again, I am Karyn L. King, licensed professional counselor, and I will see you next Wednesday as we continue our series on trauma, identity, and the brain. God bless.